evening. There are more questions tonight for Southern Health after it emerged a highly paid job given to the Trust's former chief executive was not advertised. Katrina Percy is on a salary of £240,000 and she will be in her new role for the next year. The decision has been criticised by a former health minister and families of those who died whilst under the Trust's care. Richard Slee reports.
Angie Moat still wants to know why her mother died while in the supposed care of Southern Health NHS Trust. 74-year-old Marion was a former nurse at Southampton General Hospital and also a keen cyclist. She was found dead on the M27 after suffering a severe mental breakdown last November. Angie blames the Trust for failing her mother and was pleased that Katrina Percy stood down as chief executive. But then she was shocked to hear she'd been re-employed as an expert consultant on the same pay, £240,000 a year.
Why has she been given another job? Why is she still receiving a salary? It's unbelievable, and this cannot be allowed to happen. Not when so many people have died.
During last night's meeting, held away from the cameras, the interim chairman of the Trust, Tim Smart, justified the reappointment of Katrina Percy by saying she was uniquely qualified for her new role, for which she was the only candidate and which was not advertised. Mr. Smart also explained how the Trust was improving its services, although Angie wasn't impressed by what she heard.
It doesn't change what we've been through, and sitting in there, quite frankly, I just felt physically sick, hearing how they're going to improve things with families. That's not what we've experienced.
Last December, an independent investigation found that Southern Health had failed to investigate the deaths of hundreds of people since 2011. In April, inspectors concluded the Trust was still failing to protect patients from risk of harm. One of the more outspoken public governors of the Trust is surprised that Katrina Percy was offered a new role in the organisation.
I'm told she's ideally suited, but I've seen no evidence one way or the other, and the Council of Governors have not been consulted on this.
And one former health minister also wonders how Ms Percy has managed to maintain such a lucrative position at Southern Health.
To cling on with a job that is so highly paid, a £250,000 package there, nearly that, just seems to me to be extraordinary.
Angie has lost all faith in the management of the Trust and believes the current investigations and inquiries are failing to reveal what really happened. So now she's calling for a public inquiry. Richard Slee, ITV News.
Well, in a statement tonight, Southern Health Chair Tim Smart said that Katrina Percy's resignation left a significant gap in terms of her experience and proven track record in joining up care between GPs and the NHS. He said that she is uniquely qualified to finish the work, which is what her new role is designed to achieve. The role is for a 12-month period, after which Katrina's employment with the Trust will cease. £10,000 has been stolen from a security van outside a building society in Hampshire. 3 men took the money and left the area outside Nationwide in Totton in a silver car. Nobody was injured. A drug dealer from Bournemouth has been jailed for 4 years. Kevin Wilmot, who's 30, pleaded guilty to possession of heroin and crack cocaine with intent to supply. There's been yet more strike misery for commuters on Southern Rail, and it's not over yet. Only 60% of the company's services were running today, and it's the same tomorrow. All Southern trains have been cancelled between Southampton Central and Havant. Other trains are operating on that route, but they've been busy. Between Chichester and Eastbourne, there is a significantly reduced service, and east of Redhill, there are no trains running at all. It's affecting hundreds of thousands of passengers, and the dispute shows no sign of being resolved anytime soon. Malcolm Shaw has more.
The RMT union claims there was solid support for today's strike among its members. This picket line in Brighton, one of many outside stations across the region. Conductors are fighting changes they say will lead to driver-only trains.
these lads and lasses behind me, their actions are to protect the public. It may not seem like that today when it's frustrating there's train services being cancelled, but ultimately that's what it's about. It's ensuring that for the ticket prices they pay, for the service they should demand and expect, that it's a safe and welcoming journey.
This is day one of a 2-day strike. Southern says it managed to run around 60% of services and condemned the industrial action as pointless.
We need to move on from talking with the RMT, and we need to bring these plans into place because modernisation is so desperately needed on the railway, and the customers deserve better than they've got at the moment.
The dispute has rumbled on for months. Passengers left wondering just when the service will get back to normal.
Some people have to go to work in London and they have to go by the train, so they'll be late at work.
It takes longer to drive, so just have to put up with it.
I'm sick of being late on the trains, don't really know who to blame, don't really know what side to back.
There was some good news for passengers. Seaford was left with almost no trains when the emergency timetable kicked in 2 months ago, but hourly trains will start running again in 3 weeks' time and a full timetable in late October.
Obviously the dispute is ongoing, but I'm optimistic that we will get a resolution to that. But the bigger issue for my constituents is long-term performance. They pay a lot of money for their season tickets and they deserve a better service.
Last week, the government announced it was creating a fund of £20 million to tackle the continuing chaos on Southern, and it promised to bang heads together. With no fresh talks planned, the two sides seem as far apart as ever. Commuters still caught in the middle of this apparently intractable dispute. Malcolm Shaw, ITV News, Brighton.
Finally, an 11-year-old boy from Hampshire has just been fitted with the sort of blade which we'll see in use throughout the Paralympic Games in Rio. TJ Stayner's first aim was to beat his sister in a running race, but he's a very keen sportsman and hopes that one day he'll be able to compete at the highest level. Here's Richard Jones.
When sports-mad TJ Stayner was born, doctors discovered that his right foot hadn't developed properly, and the decision was made to amputate it. Until now, he's used a conventional prosthetic leg to walk, and he's already achieved a lot.
The doctors said I would not be able to stand or walk, and I proved them wrong.
His conventional leg was fine for walking, but not for sport. So his mum asked the centre where he's treated if he could have a blade. It's unusual for children so young to have one because they're expensive, but a charity helped with funding. He's had it since July and he hasn't looked back.
Sometimes people just need to be given the chance, and I think devices like the running blade for people as active as that, it may inspire him to do that little bit more. Although I don't know how you can inspire TJ to do that much more. He plays football, he's just so active, so to be able to give him something that enables him to really take that on is fantastic.
Now he can swap between his walking leg and his running blade. He plays football, volleyball, and has his eyes on lots of other sports.
His other leg he would end up tripping over, and it was quite heavy, and he tended to run with his foot at an awkward angle, whereas now he's able to run more with a more smooth action than what he could do before, which has given him the ability to go faster.
His blade also means he can take on his younger sister in running races and finally win.
Before TJ got his blade, what would have happened in a race like that?
It would either been Casey would win or we would draw.
And now?
I win.
All the time?
Yeah.
And there's no doubt blades are quite cool.
He's already informed me that he's wearing it to school on the first day of school because he starts secondary school, so what better way to introduce yourself to everybody new.
TJ will be watching the Paralympics to see what other sports are now open to him. And one day he hopes he could even be representing Team GB on the biggest stage of them all. Richard Jones, ITV News.
Let's take a look at the weather now with all the details tonight. Here's Joe Blythe.
From sleet to the slopes, driving through Europe. Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Hello again. Still warm for tomorrow, slightly more cloud around the region and generally dry. Beginning to freshen up weather-wise a little bit over the next few days or so. But tonight, on the warm side, 15 or 16 Celsius, clear and dry. Maybe some mistiness to start the day tomorrow. Other than that, dry with fine, sunny spells. Through the middle part of the day, lunchtime, early afternoon, cloud will thicken up from the west. It could give some drizzle, but generally things brighten up again towards tomorrow evening. A fine end to the day, and for all of us, a warm afternoon. 24 or 25 Celsius, tomorrow's top temperature. Good night.
Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
And that's it for now. We're back during Good Morning Britain from 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Please do join Amanda for that. But from the late team, thanks for watching tonight. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.